show, so get rocking up. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. Taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you.
Hello there, it's Steve from Elite FPL, and basically FPL Penguin has asked me to talk about Burnley for the upcoming season. I don't really know much to say, particularly really. It's going to be the usual story for Burnley like it has been over the last several seasons underneath Dyche. Really, it's a case of once we hit form, jump on their defence. I was looking over on whoscored.com just to kind of see if I was right or wrong regarding the usual patterns that happen with Burnley. Essentially, it goes like this. First 10 game weeks, we're lucky to win one game. Majority of the time we lose and we get the odd draw here or there. And then the middle of the road, between about game week 11 up to, say, game week 25, something like that, game week 30, we do okay. We get the odd win here or there, get the odd draw, but hardly lose. At that point, that's when you want to be looking at our defence. And then the last 10 fixtures or so, essentially it's Dyche goes, we're safe now, let's go gung-ho. There's a decent chance that we're going to get the odd win here or there, which will solidify our safety essentially in the Premier League. But yeah, I was just looking at whoscored.com from last season, and essentially yes, the first 10 game weeks last year we lost 6, drew 2 and won 1. So, and that game was against Crystal Palace where we beat them 1-0. So yeah, not the greatest start. And then after that, I think it's like the next 13 games I've got up in front of me here. We won 7, lost 3, drew 2. And then the last, preceding 15, 16 games or so, it is just the most sporadic results all over the place, really. So what you want to be doing if you are looking at any form of Burnley assets is essentially the key is this. When all the talk in the papers and on the radio and TV are saying Burnley are definitely going down, we all seem to randomly pull out a result out of the bag and it sets us on our way. So as I can see here, it was this. Burnley 1, Everton 1, Arsenal 0, Burnley 1, Aston Villa 0, Burnley 0. And the pattern just continues, and it's just essentially Dyche just shuts up shop. He says to the players, we are not conceding a goal, and if we actually score a goal, it's by pure luck. But if we do score, we're not going to concede, and that's kind of like Dyche's philosophy, really. Get that one goal if we potentially can, but let's just hold out for a 0-0, basically. I mean, regarding assets, is there much point in me talking about them? It's the same old faces regarding our particular players. I mean, on the screen at the moment is Ashley Westwood, but really, when it comes down to it, it's the classic example of you want to be looking at the likes of Ben Mee, Tarkowski, Charlie Taylor, to name 3. Chris Wood's an interesting one at 7 million. I think it's overpriced in my opinion. I think 6.5 would have been better. 7 million for a player who, yes, he can get double-digit goals. The only downside to Chris Wood is that it is literally just when he decides to start scoring. A bit like with Burnley team themselves, once he starts hitting a bit of form, at that point it's a case of, okay, he scored his first goal, he's looking confident, get him in now, brilliant. But who are you going to be getting from Burnley? Nick Pope at 5.5, there are much better point scorers than Nick Pope that are cheaper or the equivalent. Meslier, Martinez to name 2. You know, like I mentioned, Tarkowski, Loughton, Mee, Taylor, the back 4. You're not going to go anywhere near them, especially with the start that we've got. Midfield. If McNeil can actually play in his favourite position on the right, I think at that point, then there's a question of, right, let's look at him. But until Dyche actually puts him there, it ain't going to be happening. I know Brownhill scored a couple of goals in pre-season. I don't even know against who, to be completely blunt with you. But they're the only 2 goals he's ever going to score for Burnley. And then up front, Chris Wood has mentioned Vidra, 5.5. Once again, I'd rather spend the 0.5 and getting Pookie, if I'm honest with you. Rodriguez, Barnes, they're all good work rate players, but the reality is they can't score. They can't hit a barn door. I remember last season, I think Rodriguez essentially missed off the line. It was pathetic. Regarding transfers, I don't really keep up to date with transfer gossip and whatnot. What I can confirm is that Burnley have signed a player called Nathan Collins from Stoke. Know nothing about him. Apparently he's supposed to be quite a good player, but he's another player from Stoke that we've bought. A guy from Scunthorpe called Jacob Bedeau. Never heard of him. And recently, the other day, we got in Wayne Hennessy. So we seem to be keeping up that record of bringing in the former or current number ones of their country. Obviously, Wayne Hennessy was the number 1 for Wales. We've got Nick Pope, who, let's be honest here, he is in the England squad. He was fighting for that number 1 spot. And of course, Peacock Farrell, who is the number 1 for Northern Ireland. But the reality is that there is no way in hell that you want to be going anywhere near Burnley whatsoever, is my takeaway from that. So, sorry to be the bringer of bad news, but that is the facts of reality. Cheers, Penguin, and hopefully people take my advice on this one and avoid Burnley like the plague.
So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about your